Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Read Aloud Time. I'm Mr. Martinez, and I have a special book for you. But first, I wanted to share with you the reason I was playing that song. I'm sure you're familiar with that. If you're a baseball fan, you know that they sing that song during baseball games. I'm a Dodger fan, so they play that song during Dodger games. But what's very amazing is that most people think that that song was created for the professional leagues that we know today. But guess what? It wasn't. Back in the 1940s, there were women who played baseball. And in fact, they started a women's professional league. And that song was created and sung about one person, one woman who we're going to meet in today's story. This book is Players in Pigtails, and it's written by Shana Corey. And it's one of the books we are reading during Women's History Month. I hope you enjoy it. I won't read this to you, but take me out to the ball game. This is the original lyrics for this women baseball player. Players in Pigtails by Shana Corey and illustrated by Rebecca Gibbon. Katie Casey wasn't good at being a girl. At least not the kind of girl everyone thought she should be. Her clothing was crumpled. Her knitting was knotted. Her dancing was a disaster. There you see her knitting with some other ladies, and there you see her dancing, and it's not going so well. And no matter how hard she tried, her heart just wasn't in home ec. But there was one thing Katie was good at: baseball. Katie could catch any ball with any mitt with her eyes closed. She could hit any ball with any bat with one hand behind her back. She preferred sliding to sewing, batting to baking, and home runs to homecoming. Her parents were not at all pleased. Why not piano or painting, they pleaded. What good is baseball to a girl? But Katie wouldn't be swayed. She walked baseball. She talked baseball. She even dreamed baseball. And there you see her on her bed thinking about baseball. And there you see mom and dad wishing she would do something different. She went to the ballpark every chance she got. She loved the hot dogs and peanuts. She loved the shouting and singing. But most of all, she loved watching the professional players play ball. Sometimes she even imagined she was one of them. Every spring, she showed up for Fairfield High team tryouts. And every spring, she was turned away without even getting a try. Better stick to ballet, the boys said. What good is baseball to a girl? But baseball was starting to change. America was at war, and more of the country's boys, including the professional baseball players, were going off to the war. The fields were almost empty, and the fans were getting frantic. Even President Roosevelt was worried. What was a country without baseball as the national pastime? No one wanted to find out. Finally, Philip Wrigley, the owner of the Chicago Cubs, had an idea. If women can work in factories and even join the army, he said, why can't they play ball? Outrageous, everyone said. Girls playing baseball? No one will pay attention to see girls play ball. But Mr. Wrigley didn't listen. He sent out 30 scouts to find players for his league, the first and only girls' professional baseball league. The scouts searched high and low, near and far. To be perfectly frank, they were flabbergasted by what they found. They were in Washington and Texas and California and Florida and Louisiana and New York. All over the country, girls were playing baseball, and they were playing just as good as boys. One of them was Katie Casey. "Say, sister," said a scout when he saw her curveball, "how'd you like to go to Chicago to try for a real team?" Would she? Katie didn't have to think twice. She went straight home and packed her bags, kissed her parents goodbye, and boarded the very next train. When she got to Wrigley Field, she broke into a grin. There were hundreds of girls. There were farm girls and city girls, tall girls and short girls, girls from far away and girls from down the block. But no matter what they looked like or where they came from, they all had one thing in common. They all loved baseball. Katie had never felt so at home. "Sign her up," said the coach of the Kenosha Comets when he saw her swing. The All-American Girls Professional Baseball League was on its way. Everyone was curious about the strange happenings at Wrigley Field. "Unheard of," said one concerned citizen. "Girls don't like sports." "It's certainly not ladylike," agreed another. "What good is baseball to a girl?" blared the newspaper headlines. The league managers heard the talk, and their stomachs started to twitch. They knew their girls were ready to play ball, but maybe the country wasn't quite ready for their girls. The managers decided to launch an emergency campaign to show the country just how ladylike baseball could be. First, they designed special uniforms for the girls to wear. "Dresses?" asked Katie, but she shrugged and put one on. After all, at least she was getting to play baseball. Then the managers signed the teams up for charm school. "Pinkies out, girls. Posture," cried the teacher. "Think swans." Finally, it was time for the big test. The girls were graceful, they were elegant, they were perfectly charming, and they were ready to play ball. On opening day, 16 swan-like players emerged from each locker room and onto the field. But something wasn't right. Katie heard a giggling in the stands. It grew louder and louder. "Careful, you might break a nail, girls," someone shouted. "Players in pigtails," roared the crowd. "Is this a ballpark or a ballroom?" Everyone laughed themselves silly until the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League started to play. And they played by far the best ball any of them had ever played. By the bottom of the ninth, the score was Rockford Peaches 9, Kenosha Comets 6. The bases were loaded, and Katie Casey was at bat for the Comets. She stepped up to the plate and looked out to the stands. She'd been waiting her whole life for this. The pitcher threw the ball, and Katie swung. Crack! The ball sailed up, up, up into the air. Katie took off running. "It's a grand slam home run," shouted the announcer. The crowd went wild, and Katie cheered right along with them, because for once, no one was asking what good baseball was to a girl. They were all too busy talking about how good girls were for baseball. The All-American Girls Pro Baseball League. The end. I hope you've enjoyed this story, and I hope you come back for another reading for books that we will be reading all month long. Bye-bye.